who said touch me not, for some of these companies because you missed on the biggest rally possibly. Nilesh, just hold that thought. Let's get in Dharmesh Mehta as well, Managing Director and CEO at DAM Capital, who joins us on the show. Hi Dharmesh, good to speak to you. Would like to speak to you more often though, but on the big day you join us. Tell us, what are your first thoughts with regard to Budget 2024 that was just announced?
And Ajil and the team, how are you? Well, this was a non-event in that sense because nobody expected the budget to finish so fast. Everybody was, surprised, including you guys, saying what happened suddenly. That we had the shortest interim budget ever. And I think so, the economy is in such a good shape. You don't need to tinker around too much any which way. So I think it was the most ideal time for a short budget and not to tinker on anything, especially in the interim, and wait for the elections to get over and then come with the full and final budget.
Okay. Dharmesh, hi, good afternoon. You look at a lot of the deal action, the primary market action so carefully. And that's what I want to ask you about, because we heard some noises today and we'll probably hear more on a lot of the sunrise sectors, right? AI, digital and things like that. As more announcements come through, what is that entire ecosystem telling you in terms of primary market offerings? What are the valuation, what's the valuation chatter like? And what should we prepare for in terms of new paper hitting the market as we roll on beyond the election season?
I would say it is still too early for these companies to hit the primary markets. There will be more private markets which will absorb this paper first. And as you see in the tech companies also, people took a lot of time to understand those tech companies, and even now they're struggling with the valuation. So I believe the sunrise sector is still a little far away for the primary market as of today.
Dharmesh, hi, afternoon. What about, stake sales in PSU companies, government companies? Will we see a big year for that in 2024?
I would say it's the ideal time because there is enough demand in the market, and as I always say, supply brings demand, not the other way around. So if they intend to sell them, I think so those sales will go like hotcake. But if I'm a government, I will also see what is the need of the money as of today, and these companies are going to do actually better day by day the way things are shaping up. So there's no rush to sell because you've seen the valuations have actually moved up substantially in the last few years. So they'll take their time to sell it down rather than just sell it because markets are hot. I believe these companies are on a good growth path, and the government will be very sensible to sell them not too early.
And I think the sense also is that some of these valuations are not fleeting, right? I mean, there's no, maybe in some cases there is, so I can't say that for all, but smaller, but very few. Generally, the larger ones, I mean, there is a growth story. The company is actually doing well. Actually, we were just discussing earlier with someone that if you look at the third quarter earnings season, it's the public sector banks which will perhaps see earnings upgrades. Private banks have all at the margin, disappointed a little bit here and there. Dharmesh, how's the market itself looking to you from here?
I think so. It's a tough market if you look at, because valuations are not cheap. But if I look at the large caps, they're actually very reasonable. My Nifty P is not at the highest or we've seen, or it's crazy. I think the valuations are reasonable on the large caps. And I believe that's what's going to drive the FI flows this year. And they actually come to India because they missed out India last year, as you know. And the China story is not looking great as we speak. There's no other option to actually come to India. So, and the large caps are reasonably valued, not overvalued. So you'll see a lot of FDI and FI money still coming in this country over a period of 1 year. Small caps have the exuberance, but those are high risk stocks which people know when they invest in. But are we looking at some catastrophe, or you're talking about some large scale sell-off? It doesn't look like as of now. Even in the mid-cap segments, you'll have your regular correction of 20-25%, or not some real scare, which generally we see sometimes.
Dharmesh, there are 8 strategic divestments which are currently in various stages. You've got IDBI Bank, BEML, Shipping Corp, and then some others, on the unlisted side like Ferro Scrap Nigam. And the government is also yet to seek expressions of interest for Container Corp. So amongst these, which ones do you think will move the fastest?
I'd not like to name few of them, but I'm very sure if government is out to sell strategically, many of them will see very strong interest and in fact good valuations. I believe there's a lot of value to be made in PSU stocks. So as and when people buy strategically versus financially, there's humongous amount of money which you make strategically. So I won't be surprised if you see a lot of strategic investors coming in those names.
By the way,
few months will be difficult as we see the banks or something, but the rest of them actually should get very strong interest.
Since we're on the subject of PSU stocks, I thought I'll pick out some names. I mean, look at the way these moves are happening in an ITDC, Indian Tourism Development Corporation, surging 17% right now. There's a Hoodco, which is up about 15-odd%. Then, of course, there are banks, the PSU banks, which are up and about. There's also NBCC, which is having a great afternoon, about 5% higher. So while some of the PSUs on the railway side are seeing a little bit of a cool off, and you've got new names surging on the screen really there, up and away. So Dharmesh, we were discussing primary market action. You said that, okay, wait up on the new sunrise themes of AI, etc., or maybe even energy transition. So, what else? Again, going back to that question, will it be sort of any specific theme? Are you seeing a lot of buzz? For instance, we've had some defense companies come out. We've had the whole EMS space very, very active. What do you see on the horizon in terms of primary market action as we go on through the year, in the foreseeable future at least?
See, we were the first in the EMS space, and we still continue. That space is going to see a lot more demand coming in. The kind of growth opportunity which you see in EMS, you're going to attract a lot of capital. So I think so the EMS party continues for some more time. Valuations may correct a little bit, but I think that there's going to be strong interest in EMS and manufacturing as a whole. So I think so that strategy still continues. And you're going to see a lot of consumer companies also coming in slowly, and you're going to get some kind of, IPOs coming in that space. Anything related to defense, railways is hot cake right now. So those are getting sold like, very, very fast. But I think so you're going to see a lot of paper coming in the market. So the only thing is there's infinite amount of paper coming to the market. So one has to be a little cautious on this. But if they're priced rightly, I think so there is enough demand today. If you look at mutual funds, they're getting almost 17,000 crores SIP every month. So they have to invest that money, and they are the ones who are actually going to slowly load up those IPOs which come at a reasonable valuation.
Okay, all right, Dharmesh, good to hear that. On that optimistic and positive note, we'll thank you for joining in and giving us your first thoughts in terms of the budget as well as the outlook on market. Wishing you a good rest of the day. But let's get in Timsy. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to CNBC-TV18. Make sure you follow us and stay updated on all our social media platforms.